One part of Catholic culture that is sometimes hard to understand and is very often misunderstood is the custom of offering Mass intentions. When a priest celebrates Mass each day, he offers each celebration of the Eucharist for a particular person or intention. By doing so, he applies special graces from God upon that person or that intention. This is similar to how we are able to intercede for others by our own personal prayers. The Church is able to intercede for us through the celebration of the Mass. However, since the Eucharist is the source and summit of the Christian life, the Mass possesses a power that our personal prayers do not possess. Today, we are tackling a question that has been on many minds. Can we buy God's grace with our money? Specifically, is it necessary to pay for Mass intentions before Mass is celebrated? Let us dive into this important topic and explore what the Catholic Church has to say. This is Brave Catholic Voices. The practice of offering Mass for a particular intention is an ancient one, dating back to the early church. Inscriptions discovered in catacombs in Rome in the 2nd century give evidence for this practice. So, for example, on the epitaph of the tomb of Abatius, Bishop of Hierapolis in Phrygia, he begs for prayers for the repose of his soul. Tertullian also attested to observing the anniversary of a spouse with prayers and sacrifices, that is, the sacrifice of the Mass. This tradition is also seen in St. Augustine's Confessions, where Monica begs St. Augustine one thing, which is one thing I only ask of you, that you remember me in the altar of the Lord. And canon law also confirms the practice and states that, in accord with the approved practice of the Church, any priest celebrating or concelebrating is permitted to receive an offering to apply the Mass for a specific intention, that is Canon 941 paragraph 1. Furthermore, it continues by saying, the Christian faithful who gives an offering to apply the Mass for their intention contribute to the good of the Church, and by that offering share in the concern and the support of its ministers and work. What this refers to is the long-standing practice in the Catholic Church of offering a specific amount of money to the Church for a particular intention offered by the priest. Upon hearing this practice, many people might be tempted to think it is simony, that is, the selling of sacred things for money. However, the Baltimore Catechism explains that it is not simony or the buying of sacred things, to refer to the priest's money for saying Mass for our intention, because the priest does not take the money for himself, but for the purpose of supplying things that are necessary for the Mass and for his own support. While it is true that this custom has been abused in the past, the Church lays out specific rules regarding the money paid for Mass intentions. Each council of bishops determines the amount acceptable for the region, but the priest will offer a Mass for an intention even if someone does not have any money for it. The important part to remember is that you are not paying for the graces from God. We cannot pay for God's grace, but for the material things that are involved in the celebration of that particular Mass. With that in mind, it makes more sense, and it is not something that should cause scandal. Thus, Pope Paul VI said, the Mass is the most perfect form of prayer. It has immense power, and countless miracles and conversions have occurred throughout the centuries by offering Masses for specific intentions or persons. Mass intentions are the great treasure of the Church and have spiritual weight that is incalculable. So why do priests or parishes request stipends or money for Mass intentions? The canon law explains that the money received is meant to support the priest's livelihood and the parish's expenses, that is Canon 946. Paying for Mass intentions are not about buying God's grace. The Church teaches that God's grace cannot be bought or sold. Salvation and divine favor come from God's generosity and love, not from the money we pay for Mass intentions. So the payment for Mass intentions is meant to support the priest's livelihood, allowing him to focus on the spiritual beauties. It's also a way to show our appreciation for the priest's time and effort in celebrating the Mass. In addition to paying for Mass intention, it symbolizes the value we place on the spiritual benefit we receive through the Mass. The money we pay for Mass intention is our appreciation to God. We shouldn't forget that we can request a Mass without paying. Sometimes, or even most times, priests celebrate Masses for various intentions without receiving payment. So to the question, is there a need to pay for Mass intention? The answer directly is yes. There is the need to pay for Mass intentions, even though it is not compulsory or a requirement for the celebration of Masses. And also, we must know that we cannot buy God's grace with the money that we have, and as such, we pay as just a symbol of appreciation and support to the ministry and not as a medium for God's grace. Remember, you cannot buy God's grace. Support your local parish and priest and pray without ceasing. Until we meet again, God bless us.